Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Aftar Mandal and in this video I'm going to talk about hierarchy of exception handling. So in this video we will talk about what are the hierarchy and what are the subclasses of exception handling. So exception is a mechanism in which a programmer tries to solve the exception and which can be recoverable. Like we can use try catch blocks whenever we are in doubt that if our code throws an exception. By using exception handling, we can make sure that our code runs successfully and smoothly, so that no error is executed at the time of compiling or at the time of runtime. So, if we talk about why hierarchy of exception is important to understand, so first see what is the hierarchy. So at the top level, we have a throwable class which has two subclasses, that is errors and exceptions. On one side we have errors which are much more serious system level problems which programmer cannot solve with the help of code. So if you want to try to solve the errors, so he must not make an attempt to solve that with the help of code, but instead he should report it to the user administrator. Some types of errors are out of memory errors, then stack overflow error. Some people mistakenly compare minor mistakes with errors. Like minor mistakes we just do that, like we put semicolon after an if condition. So that is not an error. That is simply a mistake which we do while coding. So errors are much more serious problems. On the other hand, we have exception class, in which we have various subclasses. That is, we have some checked exceptions like IO exception, then we have arithmetic exception, then we have SQL exception. These occurs because of simple programming errors, like we and code might throw an exception, IO exception, if there is an input and output, it signals an input-output error. A program may throw an SQL error if there is a database query error, which the code might not read. Then we can have an arithmetic error if there is a problem in arithmetic operators. For example, if we divide a number by 0, then it might throw an arithmetic exception. Apart from this checked exception, we have a runtime exception, which in more general are checked occur during the runtime. In runtime, we have subclasses like array out of bound exception, and there are many other runtime exceptions. So these runtime exceptions occur because if we try to, let's say example of array index out of bound exception. So if we try to access an array element which is out of index, so it might throw this type of exception. So that was all about hierarchy of exception. But why is it important to understand, or why it is important to read hierarchy of exceptions? So suppose a program throws an exception and we catch it with the help of the general exception class. So our code might catch the exception which is not relatable to what we were trying to handle. It might handle something differently, and it might affect our code. So it is a good practice to use the specific type of exception which the class is throwing. So for example, if a program is throwing null pointer exception, but we are catching only the general exception class, so it might affect our program. So better we should make sure that we should use the specific exception which we are thinking which might occur. So that was all from my side. I hope you learned something new in this video. My name is Aftar Mandal, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.